Yeah.
103.7 WMGM Rock. Sean Patrick here at Fantasy Football Fest 2012. It is day 2 here, sitting here with Keith Byars, former Eagle, former Dolphin, former Jet? No? Jet? Anybody
Patriot.
else?
You said a Patriot?
Patriot? No, I didn't say the
So that's
Patriot.
14.
Well, I grew up a big Dolphins and Eagles fan, so I was a huge fan of Keith Byars, though you did fumble on Tecmo Super Bowl.
Oh, shame on me.
So, well, I'll first ask you, I don't know if you do a lot of these things, these fantasy football fests or signings or anything, but, are you into fantasy football? Do you play fantasy football by any chance?
I don't play, but I give a lot of advice on fantasy football. I was just talking earlier to some of my buddies. Ex-teammate Seth Joyner was in a fantasy football league a few years ago when the guys were betting, with their hearts instead of their heads, and they let him get, this is the year the Patriots set the record for when they went to the Super Bowl. His wide receivers were Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, and Ocho Cinco. And he said the guys didn't want them because they said they're a bunch of malcontents, we don't like their attitude. So Seth said, I'll take them all. And he killed the league with that year, those guys. So, so it has to have a combination of, choosing, selecting your team with your head and your heart. And I understand, a lot of Eagles fans won't choose Cowboys and Giants. And sometimes you got to cross over, just for that one individual, but not as a team. So it makes it tough, interesting.
Let's go back into your career. You played for Buddy Ryan. What was that like?
Oh, it was great. It was great. I enjoyed every bit of it. That was my first NFL coach. He taught me a lot about the game, taught me how to play at a higher level, and I enjoyed being around him. And I have nothing but great words to say about him. I admire him, love him dearly, and my kids know all about how great Buddy Ryan was.
Nice. Now you played, we mentioned earlier, the Eagles and the Dolphins. Played with two really great quarterbacks that were complete opposite on the field. One, you had Randall Cunningham, scrambling all around, had a great arm, made some amazing plays. What was it like watching Randall play in his prime?
No, it was just great. People would, after games, like, was that the best you ever seen? I said, well, wait till next week, because Randall's going to come out with something special again. I got to the point where, nothing that he did, surprised me anymore, because each and every week, he was amazing. And I think he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame someday, Super Bowl, league MVP. And it's just a matter of time before he gets in there. And so to play with somebody as a dynamic, player as he was, a bit of scramble, throw, punt, whatever you needed him to do, he could do it. And lead the Eagles and go play with another great, probably the greatest pocket quarterback they're playing, Dan Marino. Total opposite type player, but still very effective in getting the job done, and they were winners. And, Marino was probably the most confident player, I would play with. Dan would say, there's no defense for a perfect pass, and I can throw a perfect pass. And he could throw a perfect pass. Yeah. And a lot of times he threw perfect passes. So, it was just a joy to be around somebody that was just that good.
Nice. Now, here we are in 2012. We're getting ready for the NFL season. What is Keith Byars' prediction for the Super Bowl?
Wow, that's a good question. Good question. I would love to see two of my former teams in it. Number one, the Philadelphia Eagles, coming out of the NFC. I think they put all the pieces together last year late, so hopefully they get off to a better start this year. Because by the time, the playoffs came around, they were one of the hottest teams, playing, but they didn't make the playoffs. So I'll say the Eagles in the NFC, and, you can't count the Patriots out until somebody, they was the AFC representative last year. And I'll see them being the AFC representative again this year.
Yeah,
and it'll be a nice rematch between the two teams.
Nice. Well, Keith, thank you so much for taking some time out here, Fantasy Football Fest 2012. Big fan, loved watching you play. And that man right there videoing us owns a Keith Byars Dolphins jersey.
Really? All right.
Yeah. Should have worn it today.
Should have worn it today.
Yeah, I know.
So thank you so much.
Glad to be here.
Thanks.
All right.